In the forests of Africa lives an animal that feels strangely familiar. It plays, it fights, it consoles, and it plans ahead. Chimpanzees are nearly identical to us at the genetic level, and yet they are not human. They are wild apes, shaped by millions of years of evolution, surviving in societies as complex as any found in the natural world. Studying them is like looking into a mirror that reflects both the light and the shadows of our own species. Their intelligence reveals the roots of our problem-solving minds. Their politics uncover the origins of cooperation and rivalry. Their violence reminds us of impulses we would rather forget, while their tenderness shows the depth of empathy we recognize in ourselves. This is the story of the chimpanzee, an animal that is not only our closest relative, but also one of the clearest windows into what it means to be human. I was lucky enough to film some of these clips myself, while tracking chimpanzees in Kibale Forest National Park of Uganda. It was one of the most intense wildlife encounters I've ever had. If you enjoy stories like this, consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps the channel grow and brings more wild stuff to curious minds like yours. Chimpanzees are our closest living relatives, sharing about 98.7% of our DNA. Their expressions, manual dexterity, and social behavior often look familiar. And yet, they remain fully wild animals, shaped by their own rules and ecological pressures. Decades of research in African forests reveal a species that resembles human behavior in many ways, while following its own evolutionary path. Chimpanzees live in fission-fusion communities, large groups split into smaller parties during the day to feed, travel, and socialize, and then recombine. Most communities include around 30 to 60 individuals, though some can exceed 100. Males usually stay in the group they were born into. Females often disperse when they reach adolescence. Their home ranges can span many square kilometers and sometimes overlap with neighbors. Communication is rich. They use facial expressions, body postures, touch, and a wide repertoire of calls. They also drum on tree buttresses, sending sound over long distances. Chimpanzees are noticeably stronger than humans. Per kilogram of body weight, their muscles produce about 1.5 times as much force, especially in the upper body. This strength comes from differences in muscle fibers and in how their nervous system recruits them. It allows bursts of power that would be difficult for us to match. For chimpanzees, such strength is essential, whether climbing, fighting, or hunting in the canopy and on the ground. Geographically, they occupy a broad belt across equatorial Africa, from West African coastal forests through the Congo Basin to western Uganda and northwestern Tanzania. 4 subspecies are widely recognized: the western chimpanzee, the Nigeria-Cameroon chimpanzee, the central chimpanzee, and the eastern chimpanzee. Patterns apply across them, but densities, threats, and cultural repertoires vary by region. Alongside chimps, there is one other species equally close to us, the bonobo. Despite equal genetic distance, their societies look very different. Bonobos are known for female-centered groups and for resolving tension with affiliative behavior. Chimpanzees organize around male dominance and often settle disputes through aggression. This contrast shows that even within our closest relatives, evolution produced very different models of primate society. Chimpanzees are accomplished problem solvers. They use tools in diverse ways: fishing termites with sticks, cracking nuts with stone hammers, using leafy sponges to drink. And in one savanna population in Fongoli, Senegal, chimpanzees have even been observed shaping sticks into simple spears to extract bush babies from tree holes. Tool repertoires differ between groups and are learned socially, not genetically. Juveniles watch older individuals. They practice repeatedly. They refine techniques over years, clear evidence of cultural transmission. Their intelligence goes beyond tools. In laboratory tests, some individuals recalled numbers flashed on a screen more quickly and accurately than most humans. They also plan ahead. Males have been seen stockpiling stones long before rivals appeared, ready to use them later. Foraging demands foresight as well. They remember the locations of dozens of fruit trees across kilometers of forest, and they time their visits to match ripening cycles that differ by season and species. Culture extends beyond foraging. Neighboring communities can differ in grooming styles, in mating gestures, or in preferred ways of extracting insects. Where stones or nuts are absent, nut cracking does not occur. But where the tradition exists and the materials are available, the behavior spreads and persists. These traditions are best explained by social learning, passed down across generations. Explicit teaching is rare. Instead, tolerance and opportunity allow youngsters to experiment, imitate, and eventually master the skills of their group. Chimpanzee life is driven by constant negotiation and alliance building. Communities usually have a dominant alpha male, but rank is maintained more through relationships than raw strength. Males groom allies, share food, and support each other in conflicts. Coalitions can elevate or depose leaders, and even 2 or 3 mid-ranking males can overthrow a stronger alpha if they cooperate. Females influence politics in quieter but important ways. High-ranking females and mothers of adult sons can shape power struggles by granting tolerance, staying close, or lending support. Female dispersal also links families across communities and alters mating opportunities. Leaders are expected to keep order by breaking up fights, reconciling opponents, and managing access to food or mates. When alphas become coercive or unreliable, they risk losing support and can be replaced abruptly. Reproduction is deeply tied to politics. Female swellings signal fertility but do not guarantee exclusive paternity. By mating with multiple males, females reduce the chance of infanticide, since any male could be the father, while still favoring preferred partners. Male strategies adjust accordingly, from guarding fertile females in the short term to building long-term alliances that secure broader benefits. Aggression runs through chimpanzee life, both within groups and between them. Inside communities, males contest rank and access to mates. Serious fights can cause injuries, though many conflicts are settled through displays and reconciliation afterward. At territorial borders, however, a darker pattern emerges. Groups of males move in silence, patrolling the edges of their range. They pause often, sniffing the air, listening for distant calls or drumming. If the patrol encounters equal numbers, they may hold back. But if they find a lone rival or a small, outnumbered party, the response can be explosive. They rush from cover, shrieking and striking, overwhelming the target. Such raids are not random. They are coordinated, cautious, and lethal when the odds are in their favor. The most famous case followed the fission of the Gombe community in the 1970s, when one faction systematically killed members of the other over several years. Jane Goodall, who had spent more than a decade documenting chimpanzees as playful, affectionate, and inventive, was devastated to watch the same animals she knew personally turn to brutal violence. These conflicts can reshape entire landscapes. Victorious groups expand their territories, gain access to fruiting trees, and increase opportunities for reproduction. Evolutionarily, raids offer tangible benefits, even if the method shocks us. Chimpanzees are among the few non-human animals that form coalitions specifically to kill members of their own species. Violence also plays out within communities. infanticide, though rare, occurs when new leaders attempt to eliminate rivals' offspring and hasten females' return to fertility. Sometimes it involves coordinated attacks by males. In a few documented cases, even females have killed infants. To us, these events seem almost unthinkable, yet they reveal strategies that natural selection has carved into primate societies. There are also rare but disturbing encounters with humans. In some Ugandan communities, chimpanzees under pressure from habitat loss and crop raiding have killed human infants. Tragic events that underscore how fragile coexistence can be when forests shrink and boundaries blur. And yet, the paradox remains. The same individuals who carry out violent raids may also be seen gently grooming, embracing, or playing with companions hours later. Chimpanzee life swings between extremes: tenderness and cruelty, empathy and aggression. They are a mirror that reflects not just our capacities for care, but also the darker impulses we would rather forget. Unlike human warfare, chimpanzee violence has no ideology, no large-scale planning, and no abstract cause. It is opportunistic, tied to immediate gains and local conditions. But it is real, it is deliberate, and it is one of the clearest windows into the evolutionary roots of our own conflicts. The mother-infant bond is the foundation of chimpanzee society. Newborns cling to their mother's belly, later riding on her back, and may nurse for up to 5 years. This long dependency allows time to learn diet, travel routes, tool skills, and social rules. Females reach sexual maturity in their early teens, males a bit later. Interbirth intervals often span 5 to 6 years when infants survive, a slow pace that limits population growth. In the wild, many chimpanzees live into their 30s or 40s, and some exceed 50. Orphans often fare poorly unless adopted by relatives or occasionally by unrelated adults. Mothers who lose an infant have been observed carrying and guarding the body for days, behaviors that suggest grief. Social cohesion more broadly is maintained through grooming. It lowers tension, builds trust, and strengthens alliances. Consolation is common as well. After a fight, a bystander may comfort a distressed individual with gentle touches, embraces, or even kisses. Long-term bonds form among males who grow up together and among related females who remain in the same community. Friends support one another in disputes and allow close access to food without conflict. Adoption of unrelated orphans by adult males has also been observed, showing a willingness to invest in vulnerable group members. Such care complements the competitive side of chimpanzee life and shows emotional capacities for sympathy, patience, and play. Chimpanzees are omnivores. Fruit makes up the bulk of their diet, supplemented by leaves, flowers, seeds, and fibrous plant parts. Insects add protein and are often accessed with tools. They also practice self-medication, chewing bitter plants like Vernonia leaves to reduce parasite loads. Seasonal changes in fruit availability influence how far they travel, how large their foraging parties are, and which fallback foods they rely on. Group hunting occurs in several populations, most often targeting red colobus monkeys. Hunts are coordinated. Some block escape routes, others chase, and some wait below. Success is never guaranteed, but when it happens, the reward is prized meat rich in fat and protein. The hunter or alpha male usually keeps the largest share, but grants pieces to allies, beggars, and sometimes potential mates. Meat sharing strengthens alliances and can increase mating opportunities for generous males. Meat makes up only a small part of their yearly diet, but its social value is high. A piece of meat can be exchanged for tolerance, grooming, or mating access. This dietary flexibility helps chimpanzees survive shortages and adapt to changing conditions. Their impact goes further. By swallowing fruits whole and defecating viable seeds, they disperse plants far from parent trees, helping forests regenerate and shaping their environment. Chimpanzees are endangered, with an estimated 170 to 300,000 remaining in the wild. Numbers are still falling. The greatest threat is habitat loss and fragmentation. Logging, agriculture, mining, and expanding infrastructure. In West Africa, most original forest cover has already disappeared. Remaining habitats are often small and isolated, unable to sustain large groups. Fragmentation brings chimpanzees closer to people, raising the risks of conflict and disease. Hunting for bushmeat persists despite legal protection. Wire snares set for other animals often injure or kill chimpanzees. When adult females are killed, their infants may be taken into the illegal pet trade. Disease adds another danger. Because chimpanzees are so closely related to us, even human colds can cause deadly outbreaks. Ebola has been especially devastating, wiping out thousands in Central Africa. Climate change adds pressure, altering fruiting seasons and water availability. It forces changes in ranging patterns and creates more contact with people. Effective conservation now requires large-scale planning, connecting protected areas through wildlife corridors, and working with local communities to reduce habitat loss. Responses include creating and managing reserves, funding anti-poaching patrols, supporting livelihoods that reduce reliance on hunting, and running sanctuaries for orphaned chimpanzees. Long-term research provides vital data for policy and education. Ecotourism, when carefully regulated, generates revenue and incentives to protect forests and wildlife. Chimpanzees act as an umbrella species. Protecting chimpanzees preserves ecosystems. It preserves a vital part of our evolutionary history, and it keeps alive a living window into our primate heritage. The next decade will be decisive. Outcomes depend on political will, community engagement, and sustained support. Chimpanzees combine sophisticated cognition, culture, and social bonds with competition, hierarchy, and bursts of violence. They use tools, remember and plan, pass on traditions, form alliances, and comfort distressed companions. This combination reflects the evolutionary trade-offs of living in groups. Studying chimpanzees reveals the roots of human politics, cooperation, empathy, and conflict. Protecting them safeguards ecosystems and honors a close relative whose future depends on our choices. Chimps are not human, and they are not just animals either. They are intelligent, emotional, cultural, and wild. To understand them is to better understand ourselves. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay curious and keep exploring.